Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back. And today it's the final day of working and looking at this 1950s journal. I realised after the last video when we cut up the masterboard and put them all in the pockets just how much work there was still to be done and getting those all decorated, filling in some of the spots where I still didn't have anything, and I thought this journal will never get finished if I just do everything on camera. So I've just gone ahead and finished it, pretty much. A few finishing touches to do, I think, as we go through. But this is pretty much going to be a flip through with the odd finishing touch to be added just here and there. Because I just think it was time. It was time this journal came to an end and moved on to something else. Much as I've loved working in it, I absolutely love this journal. But I did feel that we'd worked on it quite a long time, and it just felt like time to finish. So that's what I've done. So let's just go through it, and where there's the odd little thing missing or something that needs adding, we'll do that as we go along. I don't think there's going to be much, but there are a couple of spots where I know I want to do a little something. So the first thing to say is I changed how I did the closure. Originally I had it going through from this eyelet to that eyelet and was pulling them together like that just on the front, but in order to open it you had to pull the whole thing open. So instead of that I've actually fed it round the back instead. It's still removable, but it doesn't have to be, and then you can just open it up and you've still got your ribbon, well this is seam binding, still attached, so it's not going to be floating around. And I had to cut a new piece because I needed a longer piece to do it this way, although it is a little bit too long. But yeah, the other piece I had wasn't quite long enough, but I can use it for something else. So let's just go through this bit by bit and just have a look at the things we've seen and and the things that I've done in off camera in between this week and last week. So this is the first page, and I still love this page. And all of the kits I've used for the various parts of this journal, they'll all be listed below with links. So we've got our little tab here and the fabric pocket here with the nice little journal card in this pocket. Close that up and then it opens that way, and we've got a little tuck here with a journal card or a tag here. So there's that page, and then on the back we have this pocket, bit of lace and a wax seal just to decorate it with this little journal card. So I think they all go together really nicely. And then bit of decoration on the side with some ruffled up fabric printed from the masterboard that I made. So I made the masterboard, scanned it into my laptop, and then printed some of it onto some fabric, and I love how that's turned out. It's a little paler than the original, but I still like it. So then we have this little tuck spot with some circles punched from some old cardstock that I had in the right colours, with this lovely journal card that I really like. I think that all goes together beautifully. And then we have a little tuck spot here with this journal card, and which is made from the masterboard, with a couple of little tags just tucked into this pocket. And one of the things I did do, I think that's what started me off on finishing this, is I wanted to sew around all the bigger things, all the big journal cards mainly. A lot of these tags as well have been sewn. I didn't sew around absolutely everything, but I wanted to sew around a lot of the pieces, like the masterboard journal cards that I'd made. I felt they looked better, more finished if they were sewn around. So I've done a fair bit of that. So then we have these two pockets. So a little journal card with a little bit of fabric or a bit of lace there. This little card, little tag to go in there. And this is one of the journal cards from the Joey Cardmaker kit. And just a little sort of label-y thing I've just tucked in there to go with it, with a bit of a fabric backing. Actually, I did mean to put a little eyelet in the top there. Should we just do that? It's all about, if there was any little any little things that I thought, oh, I still want to finish that off. And I was going to do that, I think, in this one. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do a little eyelet on the top of this, so it's like a dangle. And what colour eyelet do we want? I'm feeling like a sort of a teal one. Yeah, perhaps I'll do that. So, a little hole, put the eyelet in. Oh, so probably not even showing you what I'm doing. Right, got our little dangle, and I'm just wondering whether just to put some twine through there, or a bulb pin, and then it could be taken out and attached in some way. I think I might just leave that as it is for now. Well, for now I'm not going to come back and do any more to it really, but I like it better with the eyelet in it. Just finishes it off somehow. Then we have this side tuck and this large journal card made during Roxy's weekly challenge last year, I think. Bit of her fabric, Rachel's fabric. And then I've got these pages. This is from CraftyCat USA. This is her 50s Places kit, and I really like these. I think I've got these pages in all of my middles. I've got 3 signatures, and in all the middle of all the signatures I've got one of those. So this piece, I think I may have put a journal card at the back here, but I changed my mind, and I've done that a few times where I've had a piece of the masterboard popped in as we went through it last week, and then sometimes I felt like they're a bit heavy, and I wanted something else, perhaps something more authentic. So I've taken out some pages from the magazines I was using. I've got a couple of these from 1959. So beginning to fall apart now, but I had a couple of Women's Own magazines. They're massive, from 1959. So I have used some of the papers. I've used a lot of images and pages from these magazines. I've got another one, but that's got a bit buried. So this is one of the pages. I thought, well, I think it's quite a fun one. I just thought I'd just put the whole page in. So it's a fun thing to have in there. So it's sort of an advert. I think I may have cut it down. Yes, I probably did cut it down a bit, cut bits off that I didn't think I wanted. But I just thought that was lovely and colourful, and just popped in here quite nicely. So I've just put that in there. I really like her just peeking out the top with her lovely smiley face. I like that very much. I've got a little spot here, and I've been wondering what to do about it. And I know I probably showed you, I found an advert in one of the magazines for Farley's Rusks that I remember we had as children. My sister absolutely loved these things. So I have just put a piece of quite thin paper on the back just to kind of give us somewhere to write on, but also to reinforce it a bit because it was a bit flimsy and it's a bit torn here. And I know I'm going to have to cut it down a bit. I'm just trying to decide whether to fold it that way or that way. That way. Or that way. And I think I might do it that way because then you get the Farleys. So I want to just trim it a bit. I'm hoping I can get most. I don't really want to cut off for babies and growing children, but I may have to. So I'm just going to trim it down a bit and see if I can, how much of it I can get in to that pocket. Whoops. Let's just trim off a bit at the top. then I'm going to, what was I going to do? I was going to fold it this way, wasn't I? Because then we can pop it in, I hope, into that little spot at the front of this pocket. Will it all go in? I think it might just, yes it will. Look at that. And we've got our Farley's Rust. I really wanted to get that in here somewhere. So advert for Farley's Rust, that's gone in. And yeah, so this pocket is nice and full now and I really like that. Then we have this one. This is a fabric pocket made from made during Moxie's Weekly Challenge. I think this was the last thing I'd made when I was with you last week. Made this journal card. That's all backed and I've now sewn around it since I saw you. And we just pop that little bit of fabric, whoops, pop that round there. So anything that, well not everything that's been decorated you haven't seen, but quite a few things beyond this you have not seen. You've seen this. This is my flip out. This is a journaling card decorated with some of that masterboard fabric. And another piece down here. Got this journal card. This was made as part when I was doing the Christmas series last year. This was my prototype, the non-Christmas version, because I did one of each last year when I was working with the DD Farrago challenge. So this is a flip out where you can write on both sides, on both of those tags. So we've got this journal card. Not sure when I made this. I've had it for quite a long while, but I know it's a very different style, but I still think it looks 1950s to me. So I thought I'd use that in here. That's just one from my stash, and I just added a little cluster from one of my. I found my cluster books. I've got paper clusters, which is one of these, which these are from, and my fabric clusters. And I often forget. Well, I always forget to use them. So I thought I'd use one here, and I've got my fabric cluster book handy in case I decide I need a tab or something. So that's it. I've got that. So that goes there. And that's the end of the first signature. And I'm on the lookout for a little spot to put. I don't think I can use it anything other than as decoration. I just really like it, this little car. So just keep a look. I'm going to keep it by me. And if there's anywhere that looks like it needs a bit of something extra, I might have to go back through and add that somewhere. So this tag, I think I may have made that. It's one of my idea box videos, I'm not entirely sure. So we have a tag behind here that goes in there, long one, and that's the same image as on the front of one of my magazines. I just love that. So also from the masterboard. And we have this is one of the Joey Cardmaker tags. And these ladies, they came from a kit called, and now I've just got to try and remember. I don't know if I put it in my book, all these ladies. Somebody has asked me about these. She calls them my paper dolls. Meri Vintage Art, M-E-R-I, Vintage Art. That's where all these ladies come from. These are from Gayla Gostinelli. They're some of her girls, and I haven't used as many of them as I planned to, but I had so many others. So Meri Vintage Art, the link is below this video, below all my videos for this journal. So, and oh, there's one more tag, sorry, I haven't quite finished showing you. This tag here, this is one, just a piece cut from that CraftyCat 50s Places kit. And then we've got some Tim Holtz wallpaper. One of the things I did, because it was I just had it completely rounded, rounded at corners, but I felt there was nothing to get hold of to open it. So I folded back this corner and I've added a little bit of old lace and a wax seal, just so that it gives you something to kind of get hold of. And then I have added this I think it was probably meant to be a journal card, don't think it matters, from the Meri Cardmaker kit as a pocket. And then this was one of the pieces from the masterboard, which again I've added one of the interior scenes from the CraftyCat kit. A little bit of Florentine paper here. So I just like that little journal card in this pocket here. I didn't have anything here and I felt it needed something. So that's gone in there. This I do believe you have seen. So I've got this tag here. And then this was just a piece from the Pretty 50s kit. And I have backed it and it's just there as a journal card. What else have we got? So this is the paper bag that I put in the journal. And so we have a tag in the top of the paper bag. I don't think I'd made this. I think I'd put a piece of masterboard in here when I was with you last week, but I changed my mind because I really wanted to use her. And she was such a big image, I thought, well, there's no point in using a masterboard because she'll completely cover it. So I just backed her onto some cardstock and did my little punching around the corners. Added a bit of lace there as a topper. But I just thought she was such a beautiful image. I had to cut her right down, but I think she goes on there lovely. I really like her. And so she has gone into the top of this paper bag pocket, like that. And then there was a little corner tuck here, and I've made one of my, this is what came from Roxy's Weekly Challenge, little writing spot made from these are Project Life cards. She made them with playing cards, but I really like these. I did this one on camera with you, I think possibly even last week, maybe. Could have been last week, feels such a long time ago. And then on the other side of the paper bag, I've got this tag, and I've just put on, oops, she's disappeared, but two more of the ladies from that Meri vintage art kit, and a little piece of, there was like a little label here that I stamped style on, because I thought it went well with her dress. So let's just switch this around so we can see her little face. There we go. So that's that one. And I'll put a little like a bit of gauze really, but it's from a piece of lace behind there, very thin. So yeah, it's just a nice little journal card from Meri Cardmaker. And then the pocket I've covered with some Florentine paper that I thought went really well with everything. And this one, so you can see I've been using quite a few of the images from those magazines because I love them. This is one of my favourite card and pocket combinations, I think. So this was one of the piece of masterboard, and all I've done is cut round her. She was slightly bigger, but I have cut round her to fit on this card, and I love it. And I really love it in this pocket. I think it all just goes so beautifully. It's one of my favourite combinations. I really like her in there. So that was that one. And where are we? Got another one of those 50s places middles. Then on here, we already had this, this journal card. Put that in there because I'd made that a while ago. Really like that. This is a bit comes from the Meri Cardmaker kit. Just made a little collage, a little cluster there from this journal card. I think, yes, that was some scrapbook paper I used. And then I've just added another page from the magazine, just because I felt it looked a bit kind of lost in there. I felt it needed something else, so I thought I'll do another page from the magazine. And apparently the cleverest women in Britain serve saltines every day. I just thought, bit of fun. And you can see it's old because it's all in the old money. I've never heard of these things. They're crackers, basically, I think. Little crackers. Don't think we get those anymore, at least not as far as I'm aware. And on the back, it's an advert for a cup of tea. Brook Bond PG Tips, I think. Is it Brook Bond? no, I think PG Tooks was later. So that's Brook Bond tea. Everybody needs a cup of tea. Well, that hasn't changed. And I like these ones that are quite colourful. These coloured ads in these magazines. They're not all coloured. Right, so I like that very much in there. Where are we? We're going through here. I got to this pocket. I added one of the clusters onto this pocket, and there was also a little space, a little spot here. So this was a tag that was actually in the kit. It was in the Pretty 50s kit, in the, I think, part 2, where they had the ephemera. And I've just cut it down a little bit and put a little piece of fabric on there as the tab. And that goes in there. And I've got this tag here, and there's a little, I used her as another little tuck. I put that little card there, which is backed on a piece of card just to make it a bit more sturdy, and it's popped into there. So this is about tickets for Lion's Music Salon, and she looks like she's all dressed up to go there, and she's got her ticket. So that's that one. That's backed like that. And on the other side, this is again the paper bag. Now when I was going through this, it's now got 2 cards in it, 2 journal cards. I actually thought I hadn't put anything in here. I had it like this. Didn't really. I went like that, and I thought, oh, there's nothing in there. Didn't really spot that I'd put the card this side. So I made another one. But I wasn't too sorry about it, partly because it's quite a big pocket, it's quite roomy, plenty of room for a second one, but also I love this image and I really wanted to use it. I thought she was lovely, so I thought, well, I'm going to use that. Just took a piece of book page from a book called Guide to Household Work, and I thought it amused me because I thought she does not look like she does any household work to me. She's far too elegant. So I thought that was just a little bit tongue-in-cheek, Guide to Household Work there. I don't know where I got that I got some pages from that book, but I don't know where they came from. So that's just a journal card. And by the time I'd made it, I realised that I already had one in there, so I made sure the tab was in a different spot, so they look like they actually go together, like that. So I've now got, this paper bag has got two journal cards in it now. So I've got this one on this side. That was the masterboard, and I just made that up. I can't remember. I can't remember quite what. I think I did this off camera as well last week. I did do a lot of work on this journal last week. After the video, it did take me it was a number of hours of work, and I thought, well, I would have had to make at least 2 or 3 more videos just to get this finished. And I thought, well, it's too much. It needed to be finished. And then there's another little card here, another one, a bigger one about the tickets on sale for Lion's Music Salon. So I'll tuck that in behind here, and that was more about the colour of it because it picks up the colour in her outfit. I just like that there. I think the colours all work well together. So that's that one. Got this journal card in here with its own little journal card inside, and then you can write on the back of, so you've got 2 journaling spots. So this was where I had intended, I wanted to do a bit of stamping on here, so I think that's one of the things I wanted to do today. I just wasn't sure. I've got my click stamps out, and I've done the word fashion, and I was just going to check it fits, but it does. So I think I might just put a little board underneath. Give myself a flat surface. I'm going to use this stamp block here from Dilutions just to give myself a flat surface, and then I'm just going to stamp that word. It just looked like it needed something in that, cried out for a word to be stamped on there. Make sure it's straight. just pop that in the middle. Count to 5. 1, 2. Make sure it transfers. Oh yes, good, good, good. So that's that. That's just that little finishing touch that spot needed. Take that out. Now I can pop this back in. Good. And let's carry on. Got our little bit of fabric that we put down there. Picks up the blue in her dress. Oh yes, this was that quite tight pocket here, if you remember, that was with the Tim Holtz wallpaper, and I thought the pocket was a bit tight for a piece of masterboard, so I said I'd have to come up with something else. So I've actually got a couple of things in the end. So I took this piece from one of the other pockets that I was going to put it in, one of the side tucks further along, and when we get there I'll tell you where it came from, because it kind of didn't fit anymore once I put something in there. So all I've done with this, I've backed it onto with some, I think it's some packaging or something, put a little bit of trim on the top, and I've popped that in there. And then this is from one of the magazines again. It's not the whole page, I just cut it down. It's actually an article about how to make your hair beautiful, featuring Julie Andrews, a very young looking Julie Andrews. How to give your hair shining, flashing beauty with Vitapoint. So I rather like that. We all know Julie Andrews, don't we? So that's just, so it's like half a page really, but I just thought I'd pop that in there because I rather like that. And that can just pop in, and it, because it's soft, you know, it's just a thin piece of paper, it slides in there nicely. And then we've got our, in fact I'll put this behind so that there's a bit of colour between the paper and the, because this is, but it's black and white, this magazine piece. I wanted a bit of contrast so you could see. And of course the pink picks up the lace, so yeah, the colours all work really well together. And then I think you saw that this piece, and I just finished it off, put some quite thin Italian paper behind her, stood on a couple of little bits, a little like piece of bit of that old tape that I've got that was on that card. They're like card tape. They look like washi, but they're thicker. And there's a little bit of my paper, printed fabric behind. So that's gone in there. So I didn't want a whole piece in because I didn't want to cover her face up, so I thought this was ideal. And that's the end of the second signature. Right, and now we're on the last signature. And I still haven't found a little spot for my car. No, that's going to blend in too much. So I haven't done anything. This is the flap of an envelope. The envelope's the other side, of course. And so we've just got some writing paper here. Just keep flapping over. Try and keep that flat. Can we put that? Can't get hold of it. Can we put that there? I might just put that on here. I think I need to just try and... It's a bit tricky to cut around the windscreen because it's so thin. I might just put that there, just to make that more... Have a little something on there, I think. I thought about making it a tuck spot, but I think it's just not going to work like that. It would have been alright if I hadn't cut the windscreen out, but once I'd done that I thought, no, that's not going to work. It's too small. Okay. pop that down there. Okay, that's on there. And then we've got this is the pocket with the built-in tab. Actually, it's coming away a little bit here. I might just need a little bit of glue on this edge. Make sure everything's holding together. So with this tab, I had just popped it in here, this journal card. So I put one of these film strip pieces from Joey Cardmaker down the middle. One of my little clusters, one of my little fabric clusters at the top, because I thought the colour went really well. And then I just popped a little label saying, "Show me your smile." And they're kind of smiling, not all of them, but I thought I'll put that there. And that's gone in there. This one was already here, also from the masterboard. Didn't require a lot of decoration really, because it had this already on it. That was there already. Then this piece, this was where I had that pink ticket thing in this side tuck here, and I was going to put the two in together, but actually by the time I'd finished decorating it there wasn't really room. So again, I've taken one of the images from the magazine, a little bit of pretty lacy fabric down the side, and a tab here that I thought went quite well. So yes, it's just a piece of the masterboard and decorated it up with a few bits and pieces, and that goes in. Whoops, it's catching there. That's going to go in there. I think that looks nice in that spot there. Happy with that. And we've got our roses paper from the magazine. So I'll just pop this. Didn't do anything extra with this little tag. This is from Joey Cardmaker. I haven't put anything on there. I've just put it in as it is, with some sewing paper on the back to keep it nice and thin, because it is quite a slim tuck. I just popped her in there, and then there's another piece from the magazine. I just liked that picture, so I'll just put that in there. And then on the other side, something from the doctor's diary. So yeah, I just liked her. I thought she looked happy, so I'm going to pop that in here. And this, so I thought the colour of her dress picks up the green in the tuck, so I like that. It's getting very full. This is the middle page of the last signature. Then this was the other side of that Cadbury's Roses paper, and I had used a piece of card. Whoops, I was catching on something. So this is the piece of card from that old pack I had. And I've actually cut out one of the ladies that I hadn't used as a page. One of the kit ladies, one of these. I had this floating around, and I really thought she looked lovely on there. So she's lost her feet. She was a bit tall, but otherwise I think she was just enough as she is, with a little fabric tab there. So I'm going to put her in there. Oh, that's coming. Her foot is coming adrift. Just down here. So I need a little bit more glue. It's a good thing about going through these journals, you can pick up the bits that might need a little extra, where things are coming apart a little bit, that might need a little extra glue, or little extra something. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on here. Hold the foot down. So, I mean, I've really done very little with that. I haven't even sewn around it. I just kept it simple. I actually just went over that, because this is quite thick. I haven't backed it. It was white, so I've gone over it with my vintage photo, just to give it that slightly more vintage look on the back there. And then that's gone in there like that. Got that. So we've got our 2 Joey Cardmaker pockets. So this one you've seen with the little Project Life cards with the pull out. Then we've got a couple here from, again, this one is from, I think this is a tab from the Pretty 50s kit that I've just put one of the ladies on, and an eyelet with a little piece of fabric going through the top. That's a piece that from the front cover. So that's in there. And then this one, another piece of that card from that pack. One of the ladies from the Joey Cardmaker kit. I think it was 50s Gals. I think that's what he's called his kit. So there was all sorts of images, there were tags, big images, all sorts. I've used it a lot because all the what is it? Those ones, these ones as well, all from the same kit. Still got lots of them left, but I thought she looked lovely on this background, and I just put sewed a couple of little bits on here, a bit of vintage lace and a bit of cheesecloth just across that corner. So I thought she would look nice like that. Not sure which way around to do them. I think I need to put it like that. That's it. There we go. So that's that one. We're nearly there now. So this is one I thought I needed a bit of a tab. If I've got something I can put on there just to get hold of. So I know there was one somewhere that needed something to help me get hold of it. So I've got my fabric cluster book here. So I only need a tiny cluster. I don't know whether this one would work. That might do it. Don't know if I've got any more. That's small enough. Got loads of small ones here. So they're just attached with some double-sided tape, so they're easy to peel off. Could do that. It's a bit big, I think. This one's longer but a bit narrow. No, I think that's a bit too much as well. Oh, about this little dinky one. How would that look? Because it doesn't need to be much, does it? Maybe even. I'm not sure if this is going to work because it's so close to the spine. Maybe it doesn't need it after all, but I do like them. That one or that one. I think I like that one. I'm just going to put it on there. Even if it doesn't really act as much of a tab because it's a bit close to the spine, I still think it looks quite nice on that corner there. So I thought about time I used some of these. I had them on the. I did them. Oh, I think it was when I did these with Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. She made these cluster books, and I thought, and I'm sure I've got a video on it somewhere, but it's probably from a couple of years ago now. And I very rarely remember to reach for them, so I thought I must dip in, and maybe I've got space to make more. They're such fun to make. Right, so that's my tab, which I'm scared to get hold of now in case it just pulls off. But there's a pocket here, which did I actually decorate this? Oh, this was the one where it kind of came with its own decoration, so I haven't done anything to it. I thought I'd just leave it as is because it had this piece as part of the masterboard. Could do with it having a little topper, really, couldn't we? Yes, we could. Let's do that. Let's give it a little topper. got my little tray of fabric scraps here, and I'm just wondering if this would be how this would look. I think that might look okay. I might just do that. Let's see. I don't really want another. I don't want another cluster on there. That would have been an option. So I could just put that like that. How would that look? Or would it blend into the background too much because it's the same as the inside? Maybe it is too much, too blended. Oh, I've got this scrap here. Let's use that. Yes, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use that scrap of feed sack that I've printed onto fabric. One of Gail's papers. I may have forgotten about this one when I went through decorating all my bits of masterboard. It's always possible. I forgot to do this one because it's not even been inked round, and that isn't central. So, and it hasn't been sewn around, which I think I would have done if I'd remembered. I missed it. It's very easy to miss these things. I don't want a great big tab on there, so I'm just going to trim that off. Not very straight, of course. I'm just going to ink around it, and then I think we'll call it good, this one. I may get the urge to sew around it later, I don't know. I feel like I've moved on from this now. Mentally it's done in my head. Even though, I don't know if you can ever say you're done with a journal. There's always more you can add, isn't there? You can never completely feel like you've totally done everything you could do. But I don't feel like I want to do any more now. Right, so that is going to go in here. There we are. That's in. And I quite like that because it's got the colours, all the blues and pinks all pick each other up. So that's that piece. I'll get this out of the way now. And I don't think I'm going to need another cluster, so I'm going to put that aside too. We're nearly there, folks. So there we go. Just coming to the end now. One more pocket. Again, a bit more decorating done. So I had these two journal tags, I think, just popped in. This one is from the Pretty Fifties. I think it's called Just Digital Papers is the etiquette. All of them are linked below, as I've said before. And this is from the Joey Cardmaker, one of his images, and one of my stamped pieces from one. I've got a stamp that says "Love Your Life," so I thought she looked like she's loving life, so I put that there. And this one I put one of my pieces from a. I think that was from a piece of sort of lacy fabric I had, and I popped that as the topper because I didn't want. Had a very big circle for a hole, and it was much bigger than my hole punch, and I thought I don't want to punch a hole, I want to cover it up. But this one I have put a hole through, a little bit of fabric, so that's in there. That's in this pocket here, and then I've got one of these Joey Cardmaker pieces right on the back. I've just did I actually? Oh no, I did. I lined it on the inside so that it actually can be opened and made into a little. You could also put some papers in there, but I thought I've got enough bulk in this journal already. I don't need to do that. So I've lined that with some sewing pattern paper, so something to write on, and I pop that in here. So then this was the envelope that we worked on last week, where I had to cover up one side and make it so that the pocket, the journal card, would go in, because it was too tight. If you remember, the envelope itself was too tight to put something in, so I then had to cover it all up and make my journal card a bit fit. So I glued it down a bit, sort of there. And so I just wanted to decorate that, and another one of these lovely images from the magazine. I loved that one, and I love her against the green, and a bit of lace at the bottom just to make it look pretty. And then the journal card, I didn't do much to apart from sewing around, and then I ruffled some fabric down the side, which pops out and looks really pretty there, because I didn't think it needed anything else on there. And then I didn't decorate the other side. All I have done is put another little bit of fabric along this edge, just to kind of give that a nice finish. So that's gone in there, because I thought, well, it's quite hard to actually see anything on this side, or to do anything. You could write on it, but a bit difficult. You could stick a picture or something on there, but I just left it because it's not plain. It's avocado dyed, so it looks nice. It goes in with the rest of the page. And then another one of these Joey Cardmaker images. She's beautiful. This time I've glued her shut. There's just writing space on the back, and popped into this little tuck, which I haven't decorated, but I thought it looks fine as it is. And that, my friends, is the journal, all done, with a few little finishing touches as we went along. So I'm just going to sew her up. Love this journal. I suppose it has a slightly more personal feel for me, not least because I've got pictures of my parents on the front of it, which makes it feel more personal. But of course 1950s is the year, the decade I was born in. Quite near the end, relatively near the end, not right at the end. But so it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily my era, because I was only around for a very short part of it, and I don't remember any of that. But it very much was their heyday, I suppose you could say. And I love this picture of them, and I really love this cover, love the whole thing. And she's a really chunky, but because, if you can see, because of using the paper bag, it just curves around everything, and it's still very tactile, very easy to hold. It's a bit squidgy, it's soft. It's just such a lovely journal to hold. I love making, and this is from Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. She makes all her planners like this, and I think this is probably, I don't know if it's the second or third journal I've made using paper bags, and I just love the feel of them. And it just kind of embraces whatever you do in it. It embraces the bulk and all the things that you want to put in. So I love it. So that's it. That's the journal, all finished and done. Next week we'll be working on our Owls and Fairies journal. So I hope you'll join me for that. And thank you ever so much for sticking with me. And many of you have said how much you love this journal, which I'm so pleased about, because it's been an absolute joy to work on. And thank you very much for going along with me. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.